Welcome back. It's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from McFarlane Toys in their DC Multiverse line, we are featuring the Gold Label Collection Metallo, the infamous Superman villain. Okay, so today is August 8th, 2024. I bought this yesterday at my local Target. Much like all my toy hunting stories go, I was out doing some grocery shopping and some errands, and I ran across this. I'm kind of surprised by it because this is the Gold Label Collection version of the figure, and I have yet to see what the standard version is. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they've released photos of the standard version of the figure. Please correct me down below if I'm wrong. But after I bought this figure, I was kind of doing a hunt online, trying to figure out what the standard version of Metallo looked like, and I couldn't find anything. If I had to guess, it's possible that the standard version isn't out yet, because in the past, there have been cases where the Gold Label figure was released first, prior to the standard edition. And I'm guessing the standard edition is probably going to be maybe silver and gray. I might be wrong on that completely. But what we have here is still nonetheless a very nice looking action figure. As some of you with a really keen eye might notice, a lot of this is reused parts from the Lex Luthor figure, which isn't a bad thing. The way it's presented, I think, makes it look like almost like a new figure completely. I think it's only one of those things, if you're a diehard fan, you'll recognize the reused legs, lower torso, arms, and the head and chest are new pieces, I believe. Much like other McFarlane figures, it has a display base, a kryptonite accessory, and also a trading card in the back. And over here we have some beautiful comic book artwork. I believe this might be done by artist Gary Frank, I think. That's what it looks like to me anyways. Alright, so let's get started. So Metallo is one of those long-standing Superman villains. He's pretty much in the same league as like Luthor and Brainiac, as some of Superman's heavy hitters. So, in many ways, if you're a Superman fan and you need to build up Superman's rogue gallery, this is one character to get. And it's just nice to get also because I've said this before, ever since the line debuted, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, we've gotten so many characters that are just Superman and Batman. It's nice to get, villain characters in the DC Multiverse line. And I kind of feel like Metallo is definitely, one of the heavy hitters. Okay, so it's a fantastic looking figure. Again, if you're very familiar with the Lex Luthor figure, whether it's the green armored one or the blue colored Superman inspired Lex Luthor armor, some of these pieces like the arm and the waist area and the legs are going to be very familiar. It really takes me back to the early days of Toy Biz action figures in the early and mid 90s when they had the Marvel license. Much like other toy companies, the practice of reusing parts isn't anything new. And I remember Toy Biz, they were like masters of reusing and repainting action figures. I remember there was a X-Force Domino figure, which was really great. I think it was like maybe like a 4.5-inch action figure. And some years later, they repurposed it as a Jean Grey figure simply by repainting it. I don't think it featured any new retooling or any new pieces. Just by recoloring it a certain way, they made Domino look, like Jean Grey, and I thought that was such an awesome figure. So it's very common practice. Yesterday I reviewed the Batman Bat manga figure, and that figure is essentially the Batman Nightfall figure. The only thing different is the head sculpt, and of course the color scheme and the bat emblem is slightly different. A very unique accessory that we're getting with this action figure, which I kind of feel is like a must, especially if you're a Superman fan, is this pile of kryptonite. So I think that's awesome. Alright, as for Metallo himself, let's pull out the box art real quick. Alright, so here's the box art of Metallo. You can see there's some discrepancies in the what we see here in the illustration versus the comic book. For one, you'll notice that on here, on his chest, he has almost, it looks like a hubcap on his armor, where this one almost kind of looks like the atom symbol. Again, very different. This has kind of like a spandex body armor, where here it's just being reused. Lex Luthor, very, modernized kind of armor. You have the metal bands, the armor plating. This one has the M from Metallo on the belt, where this one does not. So immediately you'll notice that they're kind of taking liberties. They're kind of reusing a figure, but this, by simply recoloring it in a certain color scheme, you're getting this. So if I had to guess, either the standard version will look more true to this design, and maybe a much more matte color finish, where this one's a little bit more on the candy metallic paint job. Or, for all we know, this might be completely different, and the standard version might be this Metallo and gray and silver. So, one thing I like about the figure is the face. It's awesome. You can see the mask over his face. It's kind of cool. You can see him gritting his teeth, and you can see his eyes underneath. The paint job on the eyes aren't the greatest, but I think from a distance, you're not going to notice it too much, just because the shadow casted by the brow is going to kind of cover that up. Now, the new chest piece here looks pretty cool, as the abdomen section. It's very, like, Iron Man-like. The back, it kind of reminds me of the Luthor armor, but I might be wrong. It's pretty neat, too, because you can see, like, the spinal cord armor running down the middle. He has a ribbed butt design over here. And again, the reused legs. I do appreciate the metallic like candy finish on the figure. It's very eye-catching, and the contrast against this kind of like almost neon green metallic on the mask and the waist looks pretty cool. Part of me kind of feels like if you shined a black light on this, there's a possibility that this figure might kind of like look like it's irradiating or glowing, especially on the head, chest, and waist pieces. In terms of articulation, his head rotates. Does he look down? A little. Does he look up? Not too much. His arm movement is the same as the Luthor figure. It's a little bit loose too. It's not very tight. At least on my copy of the figure. It's not so loose that it's just gonna flop around, but at the same time, it's just very smooth. And then there's the ball-socketed butterfly joint right there. Bicep cut. Double pinned elbows. Articulated wrists. Diaphragm cut. Does not crunch forward. Does not arch back at the cut, but does arch back at the waist. And it's kind of impressive. Waist swivel. Legs kick up, they kick outward. Articulated knees, is double pinned, and ankles and toes. Much like other McFarlane figures, you're probably looking at something that, if I had to guess, maybe about 7.5 inches. Let's see if I'm right on that. Yeah, about 7.5 inches. And here he is, next to my favorite McFarlane designed Batman figure. Wow, this kid looks tall. Just wait. See that? Alright, yeah, so he's a little bit shorter than the McFarlane Batman. An old Mattel Movie Masters. It's pretty short. Marvel Legends. Vulcan. And then the Sean Pertwee Gotham Alfred figure. So it's a great figure. Like I said, if you're a Superman fan, I think this is kind of like a no-brainer. It's a must-purchase. You know, if in addition to Luther, you kind of need a Brainiac, and you also need a Metallo. You know, whether he's fighting Superman or the Justice League, or just, you know, running rampant in general, Metallo is a villain worth your purchase. And I am curious to see what this non-gold label figure will look like. Alright, so let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.